In 2005, scientists discovered a distant planet believed to have a climate nearly identical to Earth. In 2006, NASA built a transmission device 5 times more powerful than any before it, and a program to contact the planet again. It was known as the Beacon Project. This distant planet is named Planet G. NASA's observation and communication labs are set up in Hawaii, where a giant satellite that orbits Earth every 24 hours can amplify the station's signals and relay it towards Planet G. NASA scientists send a signal but get no reply. Alex Hopper is a talented but undisciplined slacker. His brother Stone, a naval officer in command of USS Sampson, and Arleigh Burke forces Hopper to join the Navy. A few years later, Hopper is a lieutenant in the Combat Information Center on the USS John Paul Jones, an older sister ship to his brother's command, the USS Sampson. Hopper also falls in love with Admiral Shane's daughter, Samantha, and wants to marry her, but is afraid of asking her father's permission, as he doesn't like Hopper. During the RIMPAC opening ceremony, Hopper gets into a brawl with Captain Nagata of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, in charge of JDS Miyoko. Hopper soon learns that he is to be expelled out of the Navy at the end of RIMPAC. Meanwhile, Samantha accompanies Army veteran and amputee Mick Canales on a hike on Oahu in order to help him adapt to his prosthetic legs. Meanwhile, a gigantic asteroid is heading towards Earth and eventually splits into 5 pieces after passing through Jupiter. The Department of Extraterrestrial Contact notices the incoming objects, and they realize that the asteroids are showing what appears to be a formation, suggesting intelligence. He alerts the observatory in Hawaii and tells the scientists that the objects are heading their way. One of the incoming spaceships collides with an orbital satellite and crashes in Hong Kong, while the others land in the Pacific Ocean. From the way that the spaceship in Hong Kong looks, they think it's a communication unit. Concurrently, the Admiral receives warnings from Pearl Harbors about the foreign entities nearby, but when he looks into the radar, nothing appears to be present. Afterwards, John Paul Jones, Sampson, and Miyoko are sent to investigate. The aliens erect a massive energy field around the islands, trapping all ships in the immediate area and preventing any communication or assistance from outside the area protected by the field. A fighter jet tries to go through the force field, but explodes as it makes contact with the shield, effectively blocking the entire Navy outside the radius. Giant warships begin to appear from underwater as the Navy looks in disbelief. Stone Hopper, in command of the Sampson, decides to give the ships a warning by sounding a horn, but the aliens respond by creating a massive sonic shockwave that breaks the glass and stuns everyone. Stone signals for John Paul Jones to fire a warning missile at one of the aliens, which misses the ship, but this prompts the aliens to retaliate with shots of their own. The ship tries to destroy the incoming missiles, but fails to disengage one of them, which lands on board and explodes, killing the captain in the process. Seeing their ships being attacked, Alex decides to fire at the alien as well, but their attacks are useless against the enemy. Stone commands the Sampson to fire, but their missile systems cannot lock on after the shockwave, and their guided shots are not effective against the alien ship. The enemy retaliates by shooting numerous grenades at the ship as the Sampson tries their best to deflect them, but one manages to get through and disable their anti-missile systems. The aliens continue to fire and land multiple hits on the battleship, which results in a huge explosion that kills everyone on board, including Stone, as his brother watches hopelessly. Alex demands to go back to the John Paul Jones, but upon returning, he realizes that his superiors are killed, leaving him in command of the John Paul Jones. After just witnessing his brother die at the hands of the aliens, he orders the ship to engage. The Japanese warship Miyoko, commanded by Captain Nagata, tries to back up Alex by firing at the enemy as well, but the aliens shoot back with numerous grenades and disable the ship with a huge explosion. The aliens' attack destroys both Miyoko and Sampson, the latter with no survivors. Despite the impossible odds, Alex commands their ship to head towards the aliens and plans to ram into them in order to avenge his brother. The crew tells their captain that it's suicide and that they should save the people on Miyoko, which is sinking rapidly. Shortly after, Captain Nagata and some of his crew members are rescued from the waters. Surprisingly, the aliens have also ceased fire after seeing the battleship retreat. However, the giant structure in the ocean begins assembling multiple shredding machines and marches them towards the harbor as another vessel leaves the area as well. 2 of the shredders head towards the military base and proceed to wreak havoc on the weapons aboard. destroying everything in sight. The other machine arrives at the population center and takes down the entire highway system by collapsing the bridges. Samantha and Mick notice the alien vessel arriving at the island and landing inside the observatory, planning to take over the place. The police notice the two and warn them to get off the island, as they are on the edges of the battlefield. Instead of retreating, Mick decides to head towards the aliens and figure out what's really happening, despite Samantha's protest. Meanwhile, the crew of the John Paul Jones manages to capture an alien that was drowning in the ocean. They proceed to take off the creature's helmet and are surprised to see a humanoid that closely resembles people on Earth. Suddenly, the alien jumps up and grabs Alex, creating a telepathic link with him that shows the civilization's history of invading other planets. Moments later, an explosion occurs on the outer walls that knocks everyone down to the floor, and numerous aliens arrive to rescue their comrade while the soldiers are stunned. They quickly notice that another alien stayed behind in order to sabotage their weapon systems, and Alex rushes down into the ship to eliminate the threat with the soldiers. Walter notices the alien breaking the door and entering the room. The creature begins scanning the weapon systems, and a soldier tries to stop him, but gets thrown away like a rag doll. Alex arrives and tries shooting at the alien, but the armor renders the weapons useless, and the team is quickly defeated by the creature. Alex comes up with a plan and tells Cora to run to the weapon controls, while he baits the alien to chase him outside. The creature continues to attack Alex, and just when he's about to kill him, Cora maneuvers the cannon behind the alien and fires, turning him into pieces. Meanwhile, Mick and Samantha arrive closer to the observatory and find out the police they encountered earlier are killed, with their vehicles destroyed. They try to look for survivors, but notice the aliens nearby, and they quickly run for cover. The two are nearly spotted, but manage to avoid detection. When the enemies leave, Samantha tries to call on the radio for help, but realizes that their signals are jammed. A scientist from the observatory runs towards them and tells them that the facility is taken. The aliens are trying to use the human satellite system to re-establish communications with their home planet, as their communication vessels are destroyed. Concurrently, one of the crew of the John Paul Jones discovers that the aliens' helmets are purposely made to protect them from the sunlight. He explains to Alex that the species are likely to be similar to lizards, as they can't see well in bright lights, but the captain fails to see its use to them. The crew of the battleship tries to figure out how they can eliminate the aliens with their radars malfunctioning, essentially making them blind unless they have direct visual contact. Captain Nagata suggests setting up a discreet way to track the aliens using wave detection buoys. Alex is impressed by the captain's idea and grants him to take command of the ship. Meanwhile, the scientist explains to Samantha and Mick that the aliens are waiting for the satellite to align with the island in order to send a signal back to their planet. Samantha suggests that they contact her fiancé, Alex, as he can use the battleship to destroy the entire facility. The scientist believes that this is possible despite the signal jam, as he has a device at the observatory that can briefly bypass the EMP. The man sneaks inside the observatory and manages to grab the communications device, but is found out by one of the aliens who looks at him in curiosity. Surprisingly, the creature does not attack the man and instead allows him to leave. The scientist runs back to Samantha and Mick, and they manage to establish a signal to John Paul Jones. Samantha tells Alex that they have to destroy the observatory before the aliens can send back a signal, and they only have 4 hours before the satellite aligns with the island. Alex tells her to leave the facility immediately, but their signals are cut before he can finish the sentence. During nighttime, the crew begins seeing abnormal water displacements on the buoys, and Alex tells Cora to get on the weapons immediately. They predict the pattern of the aliens' movement and launch 2 missiles at the enemy, but their attacks miss the target and reveal their location. The aliens quickly begin heading towards the battleship, and they fire the missiles again, only to miss the target once more. Suddenly, another enemy appears close by and begins charging at the crew as well. The 2 alien ships fire numerous grenades at the humans, and the crew barely survive the attack as the bombs explode on top of their ship. The aliens continue to maneuver closer as Captain Nagata locks onto both of them and fires. This time, the missiles are close enough where it strikes the enemies at the same time, causing huge explosions that knock both of them into the waters. However, their celebrations are short-lived as a 3rd enemy ship appears on the map, and the alien moves erratically, making it impossible to hit them with the missiles. At dawn, Alex comes up with a daring plan and brings the battleship towards the islands, putting everyone in danger as the rocks threaten to sink their ship. Nagata and Alex set up their sniper rifles as they waited for the enemy to appear in front of the rising run. The giant spaceship arrives facing the John Paul Paul Jones and begins preparing to fire its weapons. Using the knowledge of the alien's sensitivity, the duo breach their cockpit window, blinding them with sunlight. The battleship fires everything they have at the enemy, causing a giant explosion that destroys the ship completely as it sinks into the water. The crew celebrates their victory, but Alex soon realizes something approaching as he sees the giant shredders heading their way. He tells the soldiers to run, but it's too late as the machines completely destroy the battleship, sending most of the crew into the water. Alex runs with Nagata as the battleship sinks into the ocean. They jump off the platform in the last second, before the ship is completely decimated. Most of the crew survived the attack, but they feel helpless as they have no other way to stop their enemies from sending the signal. Having no better options, the surviving crew of the John Paul Jones return to harbor and aboard the USS Missouri, a 70-year-old decommissioned battleship that has been converted into a museum, but armed with a main battery of 16-inch naval rifles. With the aid of the museum ship's caretakers, all elderly combat Navy veterans, Hopper manages to put the Missouri out to sea again. They arrive at the giant machine, but are surprised to see that it's capable of moving. The object transforms into another spaceship with numerous weapons and missile launchers, preparing to attack at any moment. Alex tells Cora to point the guns towards the side of the ship as they charge closer to the aliens. With some clever maneuvers, the Missouri destroys the last alien ship and shells the communications array as the aliens in the ocean send the shredders towards them. Before the shredders can make contact with the Missouri, they are destroyed quickly by the fighter jets from the Navy, saving everyone from annihilation. The people cheer as they destroy the aliens, ending the threat of invasion. Back on shore, the crew and Mick all get medals, including a posthumous one to Stone, Alex's brother. After the ceremony, Alex celebrates with Samantha by sharing a kiss, and soon after she tells him to talk to her father about their relationship. Alex walks towards the Admiral nervously and asks permission to marry his daughter. The Admiral simply leads Alex off to discuss his terms of surrender over a meal. The movie ends somewhere far away from the military base, where a man along with 3 students discover a strange alien object. They are shocked to discover an alien inside, proving that the invasion is far from over. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.